Hello viewers, Chief here. Just showing a few examples of some Australian rules football goal umpire scorecards today. They vary greatly from association to association, but they basically contain the same basic information, which is just goals and points. Here's a generic card, seems to be a homemade version. It's just made on a little piece of paper. You can photocopy several at a time and just cut them out as you need them. Doesn't have anything on the back, it's just a basic scorecard if you don't have any official ones to use. Here's one I've used before in the past from the main stadium in Darwin, which is TIO. It's a little bit more professionally set up and it has a few different requirements as listed on the bottom here. On the back there's a handy little feature which shows the goals conversion ratio. For example, 30 goals times 6 points is 180 points. It just makes adding up the score a little bit easier at the end, especially when you're a bit tired and it's a bit of an odd score. That's just a handy feature that's included on that one. Here we have another type of card. Again, it's just a generic card, has some basic information, the date, the grade, just a different layout of the format. These little triangle sections on the corner are just a cumulative total for goals and behinds as you go. So you can keep a running tally like 10, 20, 30, 40 and so forth, and final score on the bottom. On the back there's also a provision here for goal scorers for each club with their jumper number and the players if you know the names. Goal umpires don't generally keep that type of information because if you're at the non-scoring end of a ground, you could be conceivably 160 metres away from the person that scored that goal, and you'll have no idea of who it was. Well, that makes it a bit difficult. Here we have another one again with the different divisions for the Essendon Districts Football League that this card pertains to. They have a different setup here. You just circle the score as you go, like 1 behind, 2 behind and so forth. It only goes up to 12. This card's very handy to use. The only problem is if you have a team score more than 12 of any of the category, you have a little bit of a problem. You might have to start making a little notation on the corner. Again, this is just a generic card, there's nothing listed on the back. It's fairly straightforward stuff. It's not too bad at all, that little layout. Here we have one from the Women's League in Western Australia. Again, it's like one of the early ones that we've shown. The main difference is it just has their logo on the back and their badging and their sponsorship, so you can identify it as a Women's League card. We have another one here again, which is different. I don't particularly like this layout. There's too much wording on each square where you put the score, but the umpires for the associations that have this type of card, that's the information they require, so that's what we use. Again, there's just the sponsors, the various clubs which use this type of card, that's what they require, so that's what we use. We have another one again. This is much the same as the Women's League card. It just has the logo of the association that it pertains to, nothing on the back of that one. Here we have one from the Masters football, which is the over 35s football, and they have, or used to have, what we call a super goal, which is worth more than 6 points. It's a double goal. They don't use that function anymore, but that's why that used to be listed down on the end there. There was always a misprint on this card. It should have been 12 points on both sides, but we don't worry about that. And because the Masters Carnival is a national type carnival, we're playing from state to state. That's why we have the state. For example, it might be Western Australia versus Queensland. And there's only 7 states and territories, so that's what these cards are specifically for. There's nothing on the back of these. They're high quality, made from cardboard. It's very thick and hardy. It's no good when it gets wet because the material here, the cardboard's very shiny. So it's not one of my favourites. This one's quite handy, again from the Essendon Districts League in Victoria. It has a lot of requirements down the bottom to fill in and to follow, but the card's very well laid out. It's nice and bright. There's plenty of room on each square here that we can use, and it's got plenty of room to fill in your details on the bottom and the club you're representing or the clubs that are being represented. And on the back there's just a reverse side that you can use the card a second time, or you can use one side for each club or for 2 weeks. It's really up to you, but that's not a bad looking card. And finally, here's my favourite card. It's from the Queensland state of Australia, specifically Townsville, and it has plenty of room on each square. It has a running total section on the bottom. It also has provision there to list the goal scorers, the club they're from, and their jumper numbers and what they've scored quarter to quarter. Again, that information is very difficult for a goal umpire to keep up with. And it's a very thick card, it's not too bad. It's a foldable version, so it's basically waterproof. You can just fold it over, you can keep some notes on the front or the back if you want. And it's just a running total. But it's not a bad card at all. Comes in blue, which is a nice pretty colour. There's about 10 different sorts of cards from the different associations. There's many different ones, but these are quite common for the associations that they pertain to. And these are just some samples. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for your time.